Testing, 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 testing. Rather friggin' stupid sound issue. Testing. Testing the sound. Jesus Christ, there's a delay on that. Okay, not that one. Maybe this one? I can't tell if the music's on that one. Frustration. My biggest question is whether or not the music's coming through at all. Yeah, I didn't think so. She's definitely drunk. We've been through this a million times, and I can never remember how it fucking works.
We got that one going right.
Like, I don't know if you need to go to the dashboard or what.
No, I think I have to. Because I'm not familiar with the software, so I gotta reacquaint myself every time.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna go do a mixer. Here we go. So, primary mic is good, but your individual audio sources, that's what you want to change. Because right now, it's trying to just go
Through my.
and add audio.
Mm-hmm.
And you could do, see it's going to default as well. I just do that one as well.
helpful. Blah de blah de blah. Blah blah. I can hear myself,
That's good. You're doing an audio test.
but I can't hear the music.
We'll put that one thing at a time. Okay.
Why is there even an option for a webcam? I don't have a webcam.
Yeah, but it's just built with the software.
Oh.
Okay. So here's what we're gonna do. Put your headphones back on. And then is this your game?
Yes.
And then go to exit options. And sound settings. Is there supposed to be in this music and no? Is there supposed to be music in the menu?
Like, I can hear music? But I want my viewers to hear music.
Here?
Yeah. That's why I have my laptop up, honestly, is to see whether or not I can.
Okay. Exit out of there. No, sorry, mute it. There we go.
Hey! Okay, so the secret is in the Windows setting. No, but I don't need it. No, it's just not distracting. Perfect. That's all I needed. And just in time for the stream. Fantastic. Thank you. You fix. Honestly, it kind of distracts me as I'm trying to, like, talk and shit. Because I'm drunk and that's distracting. Oh, I'm not really drunk, but I ain't drunk, but I'm buzzed a bit. Fuck yes! I need to finish my wine so I can have some sake with this game. For the time being, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just fucking around. Now that I have figured out, well, now that my husband has figured out how this freaking sound works. Uh-oh. And then... Yeah. Oh, is the music, like, super loud? Okay. Sweet. Okay. Uh-oh. We're tweaking some settings here. Hey, Butter. Sorry, I was typing in Twitter, seeing if anybody wants to also join. Excellent. Thank you. Yes. The answer to do I want sake is yes. It is almost always yes. Not always yes, but almost always yes. I'm gonna let this last intro go through. I was informed last time, by the way, that since I've played this a bazillion times, and also because I read fucking fast, that I was darting through the dialogue in this game, which was kind of robbing a couple of other people of the experience of also experiencing this game. Robbing people of the experience of experiencing this game for kind of themselves-ish. Now, you might think, well, I've played Okami, that's not a big deal, but, like, not everybody who watches my stream has, and some of them, apparently, as I have learned, were not particularly fond of the, what's the word I'm looking for? Mechanics, I guess, the methods with which the thingies do this stuff. So, yeah, it's one of those things where, I'm gonna try and not speed through the dialogue too quickly, if at all possible. I'm going to change one thing, and that's this. Because now I can enjoy it a little bit better. So, y'all can still hear the music and me pretty well. Yes, everything cool, kosher, wonderful, yay. Because half the joy of this particular game, honestly, in my opinion, is the music. The music is pretty awesome. So, it is 7:29. Should I start? I could, or I could wait like another minute or two. Fuck it. Okay, then I'm gonna go ahead and continue where we left off, which I don't remember where I left off. There we go. I took a break for a little while. Kusa Village. Oh, hang on a second. What? Oh, sake delivery. In case anybody ever wonders whether or not my husband loves me, he loves me. Stream start, send tweet. So, yes, usual default thingy to be said here before I start playing too terribly much. My name is Astri's Cat Yodi. No, I am not actually a wolf in real life. I am, in fact, a veterinary technician, and I am here to talk to you about veterinary technician stuff. Today's topic will, in fact, be about aggression in pets, particularly in dogs, but also in cats, and the misadventures therein in not only veterinary medicine, but what that can be done in terms of treatment and what that means for your pet coming in, and so on and so forth. Just as a default reminder, everything I say is based entirely on my own education and experience in this field. Your mileage may vary. Not all clinics are exactly the same. Veterinary medicine is full of people, and people tend to do things differently, though we do follow a general protocol. So, oh, also I swear a shit ton. So, in case you have delicate ears, I would suggest perhaps not listening to the stream, to be completely honest. If you got delicate ears, I am not the person that you'll want to be watching. So, without further ado, now that I'm shouting into my microphone here, let us begin. So, when we left off, apparently, here, I was going after the Crimson Helm, who is a demon born out of the blood of Okami. Or, no, excuse me, not Okami, out of Orochi, my arch nemesis from way back in the day and stuff and things. And 8-headed serpent creature it were. Can I make it to where I'm going? Yeah, there we go with joystick. Freaking direction pad really just fucks me up. And he has taken up residence in the Sacred Wind Shrine. So I'm going to go kick his ass here in a minute. But now that it's dark, actually, I'm going to go see if I can hunt down some demons for this girl in the inn whose father was murdered by horrible monsters. And I'm going to see if I can take revenge for her. Anyway, aggression, yes. So, this is a topic that comes up for us kind of a lot. Various clinics will have their own way of marking whether or not an animal has been known to be problematic. Previous clinic had it listed as being bites/scratch. If an animal came in bite scratches, we knew to be very careful around them because there was a possibility that they might try and take our face off. In my current practice, instead of bite scratch, it is known as watch, as in you have a watch on this animal. Better watch out for this animal; they might take your face off. So, be that as it may, it is unfortunately something that we have to deal with on the regular. Dogs, cats, even apparently occasionally hamsters, etc. Don't like us very much and don't necessarily want us to be doing things like poking them in the ass with a thermometer. You know, I've told people, it's like, oh, I'm sorry, my pet misbehaved. It's like, no, your pet's not misbehaved. Your pet doesn't like me coming at its ass with a thermometer. It doesn't like me coming at its face without its say-so, and otherwise doing things that it finds to be loathsome or noxious, and I can't really fault him for that, to be completely honest. So, I mean, where's the problem here? Is it the animal, or is it just the situation being what it is? So, I mean, the apologies really aren't necessary for most cases. So we have these notations on there, but really and truly they aren't typically as descriptive as they ought to be. They just let us know that there is a potential for the animal to do harm to us. Ooh! Here's one of the demons I was after. Notice that screen's different. And it's that one. It's got a exorcism arrow stuck in its back, so I get to kick its ass. I mean, there's a lot of people who don't like sticks coming at their ass. There are some people who are into that, and that's totally fair. But animals can't consent to that kind of thing. So, I mean, you know. So, when we have an animal come in that's marked bite scratch, or marked watch, or caution, or, as one of my cats had on it, pistol. Yeah, she was known as a pistol because she was naughty. What that means is that we typically will go through... Oh, fuck, I forgot to even look at the name of whichever creature that was. So I have a revenge contract, and I need to cross out the names of the monsters. And I forgot which one we went after. I think it was Bulging Eyes. Maybe it was Bulging Eyes. Let's see, was it this one? No? Okay, maybe it was... I also can't draw straight lines to save my life. That was Weirdo the Abhorrent. Bye, Weirdo. So what that means is that we need to be careful and look back through the chart and see what their triggers are. Because not all animals are aggressive the same way. And I know that sounds odd, so stay with me here. Let's take dogs as an easy example, because we see this more frequently in dogs, where they are outright aggressive. Not common, but it happens more frequently in dogs than usually in cats. And what that means is they are lunging at you, they want to take you down, they have an axe to fucking grind, and whether or not that's because they were abused, whether or not because that was because they were put in a situation where they came to understand us as being pain. That's actually what happened with the animal that bit the fuck out of my hand and severed my ulnar nerve, and which is why I have permanent nerve damage in my left pinky. I have no sensation there. But, yeah, these animals are out for fucking blood, and sometimes that's... I'm gonna sound awful here. Sometimes that's the breed. Chows are notoriously bad-tempered. They have one person they like, and I'm not on that list. I'm never on that list. My doctor's never on that list. Nobody is ever on that list except that person. And sometimes, if they're feeling particularly benevolent, the family that comes attached to that person. So, those animals, the outright aggressive animals, the ones who want to take us down, those we have to basically approach from a situation of, okay, where are our limits? Some aggressive animals, you can have the owner muzzle the animal so that we can still work with it. Some of them, you have to take into account the fact that they will also try to crocodile roll or hit you with their paws or whatever it happens to be. And nails hurt. Dog nails hurt, okay? I'm not going to say for a second here that they do anywhere near as much damage as their teeth, but I have been fucked up with dog nails. And if you have a dog that jumps on you or lunges at you and hits you with its face or scratches you with its claws, these animals need to be very carefully restrained. When it comes to aggressive dogs, one of the top methods of restraint is, in fact, just chemically doing so. It sounds unfair, but I assure you, it is safer for everyone involved if we can just make sure that we're not going to get eaten and they can be relaxed through the procedure. It's a lot easier to work on an animal when they're relaxed than it is when they're tight and tensed and freaking out and winding themselves up and making things worse. For example, today I had a patient come in and I'm not going to say it was a bad dog. I'm going to say it was a German Shepherd. Again, sounding terribly breedist here, but German Shepherds have been indiscriminately bred to a point where they are classically neurotic and in such a fashion that it causes aggression problems to any creature that is not their people. And on that note, we will find ourselves in situations where we have to drug them, such as today. The owner basically gave the dog a sedative, trazodone, and that was before it even came in. And then we gave it another sedative on top of that that basically makes them flat. And then we could continue to proceed with the actual exam and the procedure that it was there for, which was a mass removal. Those are usually more extreme cases. The dog that wants to fuck you up is less common, and thankfully so. The most common aggression that we see isn't actually aggression, it's defense. And it's real easy to misdiagnose that one if you don't know what you're looking at. Dogs with defensive postures aren't lunging at you, aren't trying to get to you, aren't coming at you. They are usually backed into a corner and trying to get away from you. They have different body posture that I could go into. Typically speaking, they're less upright, they're more cowed looking, and yet still barking, snarling, trying to snap, trying to bite. These are more classically your dogs that just haven't been socialized very well, which, it being COVID, I'm seeing a lot of these guys right now. So, you know, this is a much more common issue, especially with little dogs. And I know that sounds really bizarre because everybody thinks, oh, it's a Chihuahua. Chihuahuas are fucking vicious little creatures. No, not really. There are some Chihuahuas, yes, that are outright, I'm going to fuck you up. But the vast majority of Chihuahuas that I have encountered that have been little rat bastards are defensive. They're worse when they're with their owners because they're trying to defend their person. And they don't want you to touch them. And they don't want you to pick them up. These animals, we generally speaking, the biggest key is restraint. Because if you can restrain them properly so that they don't flail, because defensive dogs, even more than aggressive dogs, like legit aggressive dogs, will flail in that way of get your fucking hands off of me and freaking out. Like, you've probably seen people do that kind of thing. So we muzzle them. The biggest thing for protecting yourself from a dog is a muzzle. A lot of people don't like it when we muzzle their animals. I get it. It looks terrifying to have a thing wrapped around their mouth, and it looks like it's super mean. I swear it's not. It's not mean at all. It's not. It's just, it's a piece of cloth that goes around their face and just prevents them from being able to open their mouth in such a fashion that they're going to wrap it around your finger or your hand or your face or whatever happens to be within biting range that they can then bite. It scares people sometimes when we put muzzles on their animal because then it looks like we're mistreating them. I assure you this device does not hurt them in any way, shape, or form. And they can still breathe. The only caveat, brachycephalic breeds like pugs and bulldogs and whatnot, they can't breathe anyway. So we typically don't put muzzles on them because, one, nothing would fit there because they don't have a nose for the muzzle to go onto, and two, because they can't breathe anyway. If we put a muzzle on them and they freak out and anything compromises that airway, their shit's fucked. They will literally pass out and or asphyxiate. I've freaking seen them do it. Not the asphyxiation part, but like the actual going blue, going cyanotic. Because they can't get enough air through their airway naturally to actually make that work. So yeah, we do not ever put fucking muzzles on brachycephalic dogs. But for the most part, we will put them on any other dog that has a nose. And that is the first line of defense. The second line of defense is their legs. Restraint so that their legs cannot get up on you, cannot damage you, cannot claw you, or your doctor. Hang on a second, I'm gonna talk to this dude real fast. Didn't think I'd be able to see. Oh, see, my grandpa said he saw some kind of island floating in the sky. Really, that's impossible. Ah, the Celestial Plane. Yes, that's apparently where I'm from, is the Celestial Plane. Not me, Asterisk Coyote, but me, Okami. That's where all the great gods are supposed to live. Yes, I know, I fell out of there, I'm sorry. Oh, fine, non-believer. You're awesome, thanks. Ah! Plummeting to my death. Ooh, that was close. Where was I? Ah, yes, talking about brachycephalic dogs and muzzles. So muzzles are one. Restraining them such that we basically kind of hold them a bit like a forklift. Restraint is 2, and there are several techniques that we have to restrain an animal so that they don't hurt us, including towels and whatnot. But by and large, one of our other techniques that we come with for animals that are defensive is actually the idea of less is more. You try not to handle the animal any more than you absolutely freaking must in order to accomplish the goal. So if I need to hold this animal still so that it doesn't take off my doctor's face while he's doing a blood draw, for example, I need to hold him pretty damn still. Oh, fucking hell, these guys. It's a cool concept, but goddamn. Okay, I kind of like the characters, but the puzzle itself is kind of annoying. All aboard the Celestial Plane. No, there's in reality a lot of you guys actually through the world. None shall not pass. Oh. I didn't mean to talk to you again. I wanted to smack you. Okay, so here's how the thing works. I have to do those weak points in that order. There. Fuck. There, and there. Yeah, I win. So, if I only need to hold an animal still for my doctor to, say, do an exam, like, say the dog comes in with bad skin or something, then then maybe I won't go for a full body hug. Maybe I won't, you know, try to go with the most restraint I possibly can. Because it's possible that the restraint that I'm going to offer this dog is going to make it freak out more. So it's important to know what kind of history in the chart works for this animal, because again, not all animals are created equal, and some of them will in fact freak out if you try to hold on to them too much. Ooh, shit, can I jump down safely? I think I can. Whee! Nope, I missed. Oops. I thought I could do it. Fail sauce. I think there's one actually up on top of here as well. Yep, I was right. By the way, if you've ever played this game and you're like, oh shit, I didn't know that was up there. Yeah, I'm a completionist. I've done all these before. So, a defensive dog walks in. First thing we do is we check the chart, because we want to check the chart, not chart, and see whether or not it's a creature that less is more. If less is more has worked in the past, we will go with that. If it's an animal that we need to bear hug right off the bat, then so be it. But it's really nice to have that information ahead of time. If it's a dog that we know is outright aggressive and is going to try and kick our ass the instant we walk inside there, we might actually send home some medication first ahead of the appointment, so that the owner can sedate it and we don't get our faces bitten off. If it's a dog that's sort of a routine kind of angry dog, we might just have the owner put a muzzle on it and just go from there that way, so that we're not necessarily putting the animal in a position where it's sedate all day and drunk as a skunk. But also, because again, we want to use the least amount of chemical interference as possible. Not because it's dangerous to the animal, but just because it's less expensive to the owner, and also because it tends to be a little bit, I don't know, just less impactful on the dog's daily life. So you have your aggressive dogs, you have your defensive dogs, you have your dogs that are just scared out of their damn minds. And those dogs, you just go slow. Those dogs, you can sometimes just take it easy, talk real soft, real slow, gentle, light touches, and scared though they may be, they can sometimes just get through it. Sometimes putting a muzzle on those actually helps them think more about what's going on their face than what's going on around their tail or around their feet or whatever it happens to be. So those are some options there. Let's talk about cats. Aggression in cats. So the aggressive cat is a complex creature. I say this with every ounce of love in my heart for them, because I have had an aggressive cat. And when you have a genuinely aggressive cat, really the only thing you can do is to sedate them. Because cats are made to do maximum damage. Like, these little creatures are capable of moving inside their own skin to such an extent that even grabbing them by a scruff, which in fact, by the way, does stress them out more, may not be sufficient for holding them down, because they may actually be able to twist around inside their scruff and still bite you even that way. I really like Japanese wall squirrels, by the way. I just do. That's Kazegami, by the way, the god of the wind. I got to see him earlier. It's cool. Yeah, like a genuinely aggressive cat that wants to take your face off. They do exist. Ones that will jump at you, lunge at you, try to take you down. I have encountered very few of those. I'm thinking like one or two. I have heard stories from some of my fellow technicians of ones that come into the emergency room that literally they have had to slam the door shut on because that creature was out to murder them. Cats can be pretty damn nasty when they want to be. I'm just saying. But that is not the general rule. With most cats, they're fearful. And I say this because cats walk a very, very fine line. Oh shit, I'm gonna set myself on fire. They walk a fine line between predator and prey. Everybody thinks, oh, it's a cat, it's a predator. You know, eats mice, that sort of thing. Yes, cats are obligate carnivores, they're 100% definitely predators. Why can I not fucking open that goddamn chest? That's pissing me off. But they are also prey animals. You've all heard it. Coyotes will attack and kill and eat cats. Stray dogs will attack and kill cats. Cougars, foxes, all kinds of creatures will kill cats. And many of them will kill and eat cats. So that being the case, you have to also take into account the fact that a cat is looking at the world in two lenses. One, can I eat it? And two, is it going to try and eat me? So when you have a fearful cat, you have to come at it from the idea that you are a giant creature coming at them that outweighs them by a factor of probably over 10, depending on how big of a person you are and how big the cat is. And that's intimidating as shit. You know, there's these big naked apes that are trying to pick you up and maneuver you around and make you do things you don't want to do and poke in your mouth and poke in your ears and stick a thermometer up your butt. I mean, it's violating. So they generally speaking are extremely defensive. And that's totally okay. 100% get that. Makes sense. If I was a cat, I would probably, well, I mean, I am kind of part cat, but I would also be significantly pissed off. That being said, less is more does not usually work with cats. It can, but it's not usually what works with cats. Because cats, if you come at them with light touches, will sometimes be like, oh my god, you're just testing me. You're seeing whether or not you can take me down. When that's 100% not what you're trying to do. So, I make this joke, but it's 100% in sincerity. The secret to cat restraint is towel and squish. And you probably by now have seen the internet meme going around to squish the kitty. That shit's legit, okay? You actually do want to kind of squish the cat. Because if you squish the cat, it kind of gives up a little bit. Because, you know, it's obviously not being attacked. And it puts it in a position where it feels a little bit more secure. If you may have noticed that cats like to be in small, dark places. They like their little caves. They like their boxes. They like their hidey holes. They like being small and squished away. And if you squish the kitty, that kind of stimulates that sort of response of, I'm safe. And it helps. It helps a lot. So squish the kitty, especially if you squish the kitty when rolled up in a towel, and they, generally speaking, either can't get to you or want to get to you less. I found a couple of pictures of a sand cat being treated by vets and having none of it. Yep, in one of the pictures looks like one of the guys handling it got. Yeah. Wild animals in particular, which includes sand cats, I don't care that they are the same size as your domestic house cat, they will fuck you up. They will try to fuck you up, and they will often succeed. So, yeah, that does not surprise me in the least. And don't think for a second that the bigger the cat, the more damage it can do. Little cats can fuck you up just as much as big cats do. So, the vast majority of cat aggression comes out in the veterinary office as, sand cat, very wild, do not pet. Comes out as actual defensiveness of the, you're gonna eat me, fuck off. Totally get it, 100% understand. Yes, they absolutely need weighted blankets as well. That would explain why my cat took her syringe antibiotics way easier when I alone would squish her a little between my legs and administer it versus my husband holding her while administering it. Yep, because at that point, it's now I'm being attacked on all sides versus, oh, this person is squishing me. Oh, hey, there's something in my face. I have been able to take temperatures on cats by myself by squishing Kitty. Even cats that were kind of not exactly fond of that idea. I mean, I've run into a couple of cats who just didn't fucking care. But even cats that were not particularly fond of that idea, if you squish them, sometimes it just works. So you wrap a towel around them, you turn them into a little burrito, and yes, we do actually use the term burrito. And if they're still angry when you put them in a burrito, then they're a spicy burrito. And then you can do what needs to be done. By the way, this is Crimson Helm. Bad guy. Gee, you think isn't that? He is not a bug, by the way, for those of you who have never played this game. He is a pongal, which is a small creature, humanoid. He's also a lech, this one in particular. And just so everybody's aware, I am playing this on God mode. This is not this easy on your first playthrough. Oh yeah, this is tummy orbs. They're here to help us. Yes. Hey, asshat. Bink, bink. Bink in the face. Oh yeah, I have to blow the fire out first before I can actually hit him. I'm gonna kick your ass on the first round. There we go. Okay, well, okay, apparently as far as sand cats go, you can pet butterballs. You can't pet regular people. Oh no, fierce. Oh, I'm in trouble now. Oh, he just conjured up a ghostly apparition of Orochi, my arch nemesis. Where do you think you're going, asshole? Get him! Susano? Dude, you're gonna get your ass kicked. So for those of you joining us, Susano is the descendant of the greatest swordsman who ever lived, who happened to help my ancient ass back in the day defeat Orochi the first time. I have completed this game 5 times, I think, and I don't mean just played through and beat it. I mean played through and as a completionist got all of the things, including every single last one of the fucking stray beads. Not fewer than 4 times, I think 5. Okay, you want wind? I can give you wind. Alright. More wind, he says. Whoa, that was actually pretty good, dude. 110% complete. It sure fucking feels like it. He thinks that the gods have possessed his sword when it's just me following him around. Well, I'm not really toying with you, dude. I'm not. I'm behind you, actually. Dogging my every step. Yeah, that's kind of the problem. He may or may not have unleashed the gods or the demons in the first place by trying to prove that it was all a myth. Yes, the voice that asked you to utter a dark prayer unto it to unleash it on the world. Yeah. Yeah, if you hadn't tried to turn... It's that whole self-fulfilling prophecy thing. A shadow of Orochi. Ooh! Divine weapon. I'm using the classic weapon just for the look. That's that disc on my back. Oh, god damn it, you mysterious prophet, you. Bastard. Guess where I'm going next? And guess who that was? I may not necessarily like this character terribly much, because he's kind of an asshat. But, like, I really like his theme music. No good, I'm sure. Normally I do Victory Hell at the end, because I'm a badass, that's why. Yeah! It's easy to get those things when you're on God mode. So, most cats are defensive. You will occasionally find aggressive cats, just like you will occasionally find aggressive dogs. I run into occasional aggressive creatures elsewhere as well. I actually knew an aggressive gerbil once. We named him Satan. And yeah, he put a scar on my finger. He literally would charge at you and try to attack you. It was ridiculous. Yes, thank you, Princess Fuse. Can I go now, please? These are the bearers of the Satomi orbs, by the way. Or at least they used to be until I got them all. And that's her husband who's dead. I mean... yeah. I like the concept of spirits in Shintoism, honestly. But sometimes their dialogue gets a little bit long. Oh shit, I just realized I don't have my laptop plugged in. Oh no! Well, while he's talking, you can plug it in. Okay, talking and floating away. There we go. There! Goodness gracious. Just talking to your dead husband. No worries. Eh. Can I go now? Thank you. So, what can you do as an owner of a dog or a cat or any other animal to help reduce aggression in animals, especially at the vet clinic? Well, first of all, socialization. Why? Why more shadowy creature? It's a... Oh, for heaven's sakes, can we... This is the, if you weren't paying attention, by the way... Oh, for heaven's sake. That's the, if you weren't paying attention, by the way, this is the place that you're supposed to fucking go to next. Which I already know that, and it's just useless dialogue. So, socialization is key in getting your animals used to the idea that other people are okay. You'll want to introduce them to other people. You'll want to have them pet by other people. You'll want to have them occasionally manhandled a little bit by other people. And what I mean by that is having other people touch their ears, their face, their paws, their legs, their tail by other people. Have other people mess with parts of them that other people don't normally mess with. And it sounds weird, but do it with trusted friends, obviously. You want people that you can trust not hurt your dog. Don't just walk up to a random stranger and be like, will you open my dog's mouth, please? That's just weird. But you want to make sure that you get the dog or the cat used to those particular body parts being handled by people that they don't necessarily know. One of the top places that you see this are in show dogs and show cats, because judges need to be able to examine their ears, examine their eyes, look down their face to see whether or not they have supernumerary teeth, that sort of thing. And check along their legs for soundness. These are all things that show animals typically are used to. But it's not something that a lot of people will do with their pets, because it isn't necessarily something that's needed, or so they think. But if you get an animal used to the concept of somebody being able to touch their feet, their face, their ears, and it not being a big deal, you start them off when they're small, puppies, kittens, etc., then it becomes a lot easier to do so when they're adults. Especially when you're looking at the possibility of your animal becoming quite large. For example, say, a German Shepherd. Dogs in general are very sensitive about their feet. This is not a unique trait. A lot of people think, oh, he must have had his feet stepped on when he was a puppy. No. 9 times out of 10, it has nothing to do with a past trauma. It has everything to do with the fact that dogs don't like their feet being touched. They just do not. They never have, never will. There are very few dogs that just start out being totally comfortable with you messing with their feet. And that is why toenail trims can be such a pain in the ass. So when you are socializing your creature, get other people involved in helping your animal be okay with not only other people, but other people touching them. This will make them a lot easier to handle and a lot less fearful when they come to see us. Another thing that you'll want to try and do is take them out to places like veterinary clinics and stop on by. Obviously not right now because COVID, etc., blah, blah, blah. But if you happen to go out on a walk and you happen to stroll by your veterinary clinic, or you need to pick something up like a refill of flea medication or make an appointment or something like that, bring your dog with you. Bring your dog with you, or even your cat, honestly. I used to take my cat on car rides all the freaking time just to go get fast food because I was a poor college student. And she came to love the car, honestly. She was an incredible traveler. And when I moved cross-country, as long as she was sitting in my lap, which isn't necessarily the most recommended method of travel, she was calm as hell. She was just kind of like, okay, I'm just going to fall asleep in your lap. This is cool. My housemate's cat, very much the same way. As long as she's sitting in your lap, she's cool. She doesn't mind being in a car. It's not a big deal to her. It's kind of about exposure to a degree. So if you expose animals when they are younger to certain stimuli, they become less terrifying, is really the best way of putting it. So bring your dog by to the veterinary office. Have them step on the weight scale, just kind of randomly. If you do it and then you go home, then they're like, oh, okay, so me being on the weight scale doesn't mean that I'm actually going to get like a freaking thermometer up my butt. It's not a big deal. Yes, I keep coming back to that one because I cannot tell you how many times I have on my patient charts watch for temperature. It's specifically for temperature, and it's violating, dude. So it's something that we see fairly frequently. It's uncomfortable. They don't like it. For whatever it's worth, we are continuing to develop technology that includes a temperature gauge in the microchip that we implant in animals in between their shoulder blades for identification purposes. And why that's cool is simply by virtue of the fact that we can scan that temperature, that chip, to determine a baseline temperature, body temperature, without having to poke them in the body. It's kind of nice. So, it's an option. So yeah, get your animals used to these sorts of things, handle them, take them out places, get them, exposed to more people so that they aren't afraid of people. If your animal has a traumatic experience, work with a behaviorist or a trainer on exposure therapy, whatever it takes to help them get past that stimulus if it's something they're going to potentially encounter again, potentially at the veterinary office. What comes readily to mind is kennel aggression. I cannot tell you how many times I have clashed with people over kennel training. They're like, I'm not caging my animal. I'm not putting him in a pen. He's going to be my companion. He doesn't need to have it anyway. It's not about that. It's about the fact that when your animal gets sick or injured or even has a routine fucking teeth cleaning or gets spayed or neutered or whatever it happens to be, guess where that animal's going to be? In the kennel. It's going to wake up in a kennel. It's going to not know where the fuck it is. It's going to not know where the fuck you are. It has no idea what just happened. And it's going to be really upset about this whole concept, especially if it's an animal that has never been exposed to the concept of being in a kennel for extended periods of time. I have had animals become extraordinarily fearful being in a kennel, and I have had animals become extremely aggressive in a kennel. Kennel aggression is real. They become more problematic. They actually start to attack. Some of them become extremely territorial for no apparent reason. And it becomes dangerous because now you've got this animal in a small confined space that's literally I can't get to it in this small confined space because every avenue that I attempt has an angry set of claws or teeth coming at me. So we have methods to get around that, like catch poles and clamshells on cats, none of which are fun. We don't want to use those. The animal doesn't want us to use those. It's a lot simpler if we don't have to use those. So if you train your animal to be okay with being in a kennel, it's a lot less likely to become kennel aggressive. And that will cut down on its stress as well. I will say, as a sidebar, that there is such a thing called stress colitis. And it's about as fun as it sounds. It essentially means that your dog or cat will get so stressed out that it will have diarrhea all over the place. All over the place. And it's not awesome. And I don't want to deal with it. You don't want to deal with it, because it still continues even after they get home. but it happens a lot with animals that are extremely stressed. Hanging out at, whoa, 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 hey, why the bouncy? Okay. Oh, making me seasick there. Especially animals that have been caged up with us for an extended period of time for surgery or for any kind of illness. So get your animal used to being handled, get your animal used to being around people that it doesn't necessarily live with, get your animal used to stimuli such as cars or kennels or nail trims. Please, for the love of God, nail trims. And that way, it becomes a lot easier for us to handle them for those future events, because they will come up. Another thing you can do is to give them treats whenever they're in these situations. Be like, hey, look, you're in a kennel. Isn't that great? Yay! Give them treats. Hey, look, at the vet's office. You get cookies. Isn't that fantastic? Give them treats. That doesn't necessarily work for cats. Cats are the pickiest bastards on the face of the planet. Even the ones with good appetites, if you put them in a stressful situation, even like piglet cats will lose their appetite to a degree. So like that doesn't necessarily work with cats, but it's worth a try because sometimes it works. But any questions so far? I'm almost out of time. Part of it's because it's taking so long trying to finish this stupid fucking monster game or whatever. Pee on you. Yes, I can pee on things. Pee. Problem with these monsters, they don't extra. Red Devil the Detested. No questions? Something that was brought to my attention recently, not a question in the chat, but something that was brought to my attention is you can actually buy a muzzle yourself at pretty much any pet store, most pet stores, and online. You'll want to size them, honestly, though, so I would suggest getting a muzzle at a pet store. And they do make cat muzzles. And getting your animal used to the concept of wearing a muzzle at home. Just briefly. You don't want to leave it on for too long. I say that specifically because dogs pant to maintain body temperature, and if you just leave a muzzle on them, that can compromise their ability to regulate their inner core temperature. So don't leave a muzzle on your dog. The exception to that being basket muzzles, because that allows them to open their mouth and pant. But that is an exception. Oh, fuck off, Molly. I don't care. Skip. I don't want to play your game. If you made me reset all of these spawns, I'm gonna fucking kill you. Sorry, I'm not a big fan of Molly. Like, I know he has a tragic backstory and everything, and he's, like, left alone to his own devices underground and all that shit. But, like, I don't know. A bully's a bully. That's my own personal take. So yeah, I would say go, if you have a dog or even a cat, get them used to the concept of occasionally being in, say, a muzzle. For cats, they make cat bags for restraint. Sometimes you can use those at home to do simple things such as a nail trim if you have a cat that's particularly wiggly. That also helps with potentially medicating them in case you need that. So if you take the strangeness out of it, if you make it something normal to them, it's like, oh, this happens sometimes, that can go a long way to preventing them from feeling overly defensive over them, or even potentially hateful of them, where they will actually attack you if you go at them with it. There are times when I've had to strategically, with the strap all the way out so that my hands are at maximum length away from the dog, place a muzzle with a kind of a hope and pray, where you flip it up over their head and hope it goes on the nose. Because I don't want to get bit, you know. It's same thing with cats. They do make cat muzzles, if I hadn't mentioned that before. They don't work as well as dog muzzles in terms of keeping them full of oxygen. Because cats, like I said, can squiggle around inside their own skin, and if you put a muzzle on them, it's entirely possible that they can just be like, you know what? No, I'm just gonna wiggle right out of this. But you put a muzzle on them, and instead of wiggling right out of this, they wiggle themselves into a position where the muzzle's like half on their face. And then, like, they can't breathe because their nose is up where their eyebrows are supposed to be. Hey. Bingo. The takeaway mostly from this particular, sure, I'll need for some treasure. Destined. Yes, they are. Okay, so this is just how the metagame is playing. Yes, I understand how to play the game. So, the takeaway that I want you to go from this particular episode, stream, whatever, is that aggression is not necessarily your fault. If your animal has particular problems, that's not what I wanted you to do. What's the big button again? Oh yeah, it's Y. Hey, you, get your ass back over here. Sometimes animals are just weird. Sometimes they're just dumb about it. I have a cat who, for all of my attempts at getting him acclimated to all of this, still tries to crawl up my shoulder every time I try and bring him to the veterinary office, even though it's where I work, and he's covered in these smells anyway when he snuggles me when I get home. And despite all that, he still freaks out. So the best way for me to get him to get anything done is chemical restraint. And it sucks, but that's the way that it needs to be done. It just sort of happens that way sometimes. You can do all the right things and they still don't like it. That being said, some animals will just come to associate us with problems. Like I said, the dog that bit the shit out of my hand, named Shade, he had parvo and a broken leg by the time he came into our veterinary office. Will you, like, hurry up, dude? And as a result, came to associate us with horrendous pain and suffering. And so, like, that's not something I can really blame him for. No, wait. Dig, damn it. Okay. So he was being defensive, and he had got to a point, honestly, where he got outright aggressive over it because he was like, you are people that are going to attack me, and took the fight to us instead. You know, it just happens sometimes. Running short on time, bro. Find your fucking treasure, please. It's almost always in the lower right-hand corner somewhere. There it is. Come on, treasure. So don't feel bad if your animal is aggressive or particularly defensive. It just happens. Yes, I am a treasure, apparently. Thing is, that's like how I get more life force, but that's cool. So, don't be mad at us if we have to Tila's your dog. We're just doing what we can to protect ourselves so that we can get your animal the help it needs. Don't be mad at us if we have to DKT your cat, which turns him into kitty-shaped carpets. And it works really well. My cat, oddly enough, behaves super well for the vet, but will get super aggressive for the rare time she needs a bath. Yeah, so, funny thing, actually, I've had this conversation with a pet parent just today. Well, that's an old pet smart fucking term, isn't it? He brings his cat in regularly to us for subcutaneous fluids. Has to, he's a kitty cat. And so he brings this cat to us. Oh, that's right, I don't have double jump yet, so I can't do that yet. And he's always a pleasure to have in the clinic. Seriously, you just leave him in the box, you open the box up, you give him the fluids. He doesn't even look at you. Like, he just sits there. He's alive and he's alert, he's responsive, but, you know, he's just kind of like, yeah, whatever, do what you need to do. And then you finish up with the fluids, you close up the box, and take it back to Dad. Doesn't look at you, doesn't move around, doesn't wiggle. Like, it takes one person. And I don't even have to put hands on him to do it. And when I dropped him off to his dad today, I was like, he's super sweet, as always. He just sits there. He's like, you know, he never lets me do it. He freaks out. He tries to crawl on me. He gets upset. I think, especially with cats, but I think in many circumstances, pets will act up for their people and learn that they can't get away with those things with us because we have the techniques and the talents and the tools and the whatnot to actually do it if we need to anyway. I don't know if that's true because we've never had to wrestle this cat, but they really do seem to be more of an asshole sometimes for their pet parents than they do for us. It's kind of funny. Which is why we get asked to do nail trim so often. And he's like, I've tried. He tries to bite me. He wrestles with me. He fights me, growls at me, and I don't want to do that. And I don't know if it's potentially because maybe, like, the animal is just a little upset about it, and the person automatically just is like, oh my god, they're just upset, I'm going to stop. It's like, I don't know, but we can do it, and the pet parent can't, so it's really weird. She must know we feel really bad for getting her wet, because she lets us trim her nails without much fuss or clean her ears and teeth. That's good. I have 3 cats. 2 of them sometimes, maybe, will let me brush their teeth. Occasionally. And I do this for a living. I should really be much better at it with them. You'd think, right? I've tried to get them used to this all, their whole lives. But no. Apparently not. Not for me. Well, it is now 8:30. I am going to find a good place to save and not drown. Yeah, by the way, sun gods do not like being in water for extended periods of time. The sun does not like getting wet, and neither do I. There's a running joke about how I don't like baths in this game. Out of the water before you drown. Ah, there we go. Oh, shit. A foreboding sky. Yep. Plot point. So, yeah. If you have an animal, try to get them used to the idea of coming to see us. I don't necessarily want to get into a position where I get bit. As always, if you have questions, you can always ask me on Twitter. My DMs are always open. I am happy to help in any way that I possibly can. And I'll see you guys next week. Or not next week. The week after next. Yeah, that. Alright. Take care, everybody. And good night.